VINCENZO'S Gold Crypto Investing this April the 26th, early morning 2025 daily XRP gold and silver bullion and cryptocurrency video. And we have some questions from Jabroni Killers. And remember, if you want to become a member of Jabroni Killer Industry, cheap and best value, $3.99 a month to help spread the word, the message, the truth, trust, information, and education that we're spreading. Just go into the video description and or in comments and hit right there. Join Jabroni Killers, $3.99 a month. The industry cheap and best value to help you stay out ahead of the cryptocurrency manipulated market. And one of the big things you get, along with helping us push our way to 100 Jabroni Killer members, supporting truth, trust, education, and information, and forcing a change in the cryptocurrency sphere, you get like Garbanzo 134. I answer your questions and talk about what you want me to talk about, what things that you have on your mind in the next video. I'm trying to stay patient so I can jump in both feet wet as soon as the bottom plays out. Thank you for taking the time during your lunch to help us out. Yeah, even if you think you're on the right track, you never know if you are on the right track until the future becomes the past, right? And it's very, very emotionally draining if you constantly stick and stare at the screen on its way through, say, a daily pattern or a weekly or a monthly on its way to where it's eventually going to go, whether it be up or down over the course of any given time period. You just have to get the information, look at the news, get the facts, educate yourself, and make a decision on what you think is going to happen and stick to that decision and occupy your time and uh, research and gather as much information as possible. So I think we will hit some of these lower targets or get pretty close. Do I know that for 100% fact? No. Um, right. But all we can do is go with what our gut tells us. There were some other questions on here that I wanted to see. View all, get rid of that. Let's see. DGB, XRP Ripper, we'll look at that. XCN, Garbanzo Bean. Let's start off right there so I don't forget XCN. I think it just had a pump too. I wish I would have got to it yesterday, but I forgot. I got interrupted by a work phone call. I'm not exactly sure where we left off, but just I'm assuming here in this red circle, as you can see, when we had this big pump in XCN, after we had the big blow off top where this coin went up and it was brought to my attention by a member of Jabroni Killer. And this is the value of the first mover advantage and the reason you should become members of Jabroni Killers. It was up 20x in a matter of a couple of weeks. And this got brought to my attention up in this area when I was making another run at or just above this rising channel. And we identified this rising channel and this head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern. And we put a target down there at the top part of this blue purple trading zone at 0.01484. We said I would never recommend, even though I'm not a financial advisor, to buy into a blow off top where the price of the coin was up greater than 12 or 13x from about 3 weeks earlier. And we recommended that we would never buy into a blow off top. At the very least, there would be a much better buying opportunity. And then we put out this pattern here when we were sitting up in here that we had this head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern, potentially put the target of the blue purple zone. And then you look 4 or 5 weeks later, we actually hit that target, came a lot farther down than that target on an orderly decline. We were warning that there could be some kind of a pump after hitting this major support zone of XCN and the value of the first mover advantage by not FOMOing in, by not getting your emotions played and preyed upon by the criminal gangster influencers after it was already up 12, 13, 14x and said there'd be a better buying opportunity by just being patient. From the blow off top, there was an 84.84% better buying opportunity. And then you could have rode the quick pump, right? And we identified last week on this quick pump on XCN that the major first resistance zone was up here, that it successfully fought through and held on top of it at the 0.01504. Then we identified the bottom part of this lighter purple or light red area at 0.02. And let's appropriately put the correct color at 0.02237 area of resistance, and you can see we jumped straight from first area of resistance that we broke and successfully held straight into the second area now. And we got into there and got quickly rejected, and then we traded on just below it, right? And got rejected, and then came all the way back almost to the complete back test. You can see we got down as far as 0.01654, held the 50-day moving average in the 4-hour time frame, and now we're coming back up for a second attempt at the bottom part of this major resistance zone, and it's trading box that starts at 0.022 and ends at 0.04. And one of two things are going to happen: either you're going to load up and you're going to break through it, and you're going to have a quick pump all the way to the top of this light red, light purple trading area, or you're going to get rejected by this area, and you're going to quickly come down to the top part of this purple trading zone over the next 2 to 3 days, right? So this is a critical area. You're either going to have a quick pump to the top part of this purple zone, or this local move is going to be exhausted as the daily volume hasn't been overly impressive in XCN. You can see where you had the first pump in volume, how much more longer lasting and extensive it was than the most recent one he just had, where it was a very small localized pump, and it's now looking to be exhausted. And I would say eventually, in the nearer term, this price is eventually going to break down. It will give this entire pump away and critical resistance level right now. If we go back into our comments, uh, we just did the XCN. Let's do the DGB update before I forget, and then we'll do a couple of quick ones. This is just a quick update here. And then our lunchtime update will be a longer update. If we look at DGB, you can see we're still trading outside our rising channel right now. We had this and shoulders topping out reversal pattern. We had 0.00592 as our target. We got on a wick as low as 0.00639. I still think we're going to hit this target in the daily time frame close. And we had a nice pump and a consolidation. But if we look at the volume is still trending down. We were in this up and sideways consolidation, which are bullish continuation patterns, but bearish reversal patterns as they break out. You can see this right here. And if this breaks out to the downside, I could see it coming all the way back down here very quickly, and then actually hitting our underneath target on any kind of break up to the upside. Your major upper resistance is up here at this wick at 0.01201. We'll look more at that tonight. We're going to get real quick into the XRP. We can see the XRP from yesterday. If we zoom in to the hour time frame, we're going to the shorter time frames here, the 3-hour time frame. We're still sitting in this consolidation just above the neckline at $2.09. And again, the critical thing is you can see we had that quick rollover. Is this just a slow decline now back down to the neckline at 209, and then we slip below it, and then we start using it as resistance, and then we start confirming it as a technical breakdown and continuing down back closer towards that $1.61 wick low? Or are we going to try to hold this on this weekend and have a weekend pump? Or is this the weekend where it's going to give up on this localized weekend pump? And if it does that, before you know it, you're going to be sitting back at the 200-day moving average at $1.96 and eventually at the wick low of $1.61. If we get some kind of a weekend pump, you could pump up as high as $2.55 level, an irrational pump up and excitement to the upside, but that's your top end potential on any kind of a pump from here on any kind of support from the $2.09 neckline. XLM is going to be the same thing, but at the 25-cent level, you can see we had our first retest sort of after we broke above the 25.5 cents and we pumped even higher. And that's something that XRP could do going to the upside. And that's what we're warning about. And our upside target here is the 28 cents, which is the 100-day moving average and is a major upper resistance level, because you can see all of this trading that we had back here for about a month and a half while it was on its way down. But that's something similar to what XRP could do. And that's something that I'm watching for XLM this weekend. But you can see this move seems to be getting exhausted a little bit. And as you run up into this major resistance zone with falling volume still, I could see it falling off, coming back to the 25-cent level, and then trading slightly below it, and then start using it as resistance and start to trade down. I'm very cautious on these pumps. Right now, the volume is falling in most of these coins, and it's going to be a very interesting weekend, and we'll stay on top of it for you at Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing. Peace and love. The Rock Side brought Jay.